Did he really bring a microwave with him out on a camping trip inside of a tent? Well, today you're going to find out on a new adventure with Art. Thanks for tuning in. All right, so let's go ahead and hit the road. It is a rainy, wet Thursday evening, and it seems like everybody and his brother is deciding to get off work at the same time I am, which is about 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's rainy and it's slippery, and you can just tell that people are just getting impatient and they're trying to hit the road. So anyways, I went ahead and took a 4-day weekend off this weekend, and I'm going to be traveling to San Angelo State Park. San Angelo State Park is located sort of like on the border of Hill Country and West Texas. So as I travel there, you'll notice that the trees start to change from like these mid-sized trees to the smaller shrub/mesquite type trees that are just teeny tiny. The terrain changes. I'm traveling down I-20 West. The route I take is through Weatherford. And then just before Abilene, I kind of take a detour going south of Abilene so that I can quickly get to San Angelo. When I say quick, it's about a 4-hour trip from Fort Worth to San Angelo, and that was in the rain, so 4 to 4.5 hours in the rain, probably 3.5 on a nice sunny day. I did make a couple of pit stops to take some bio breaks along the way, which is completely fine, and I had to put a tarp over all of my stuff in the back of the truck, so all of my stuff stayed dried, and yes, I might have brought the whole house. You can tell already right now it's getting dark, and yeah, so I'm showing up to the park, setting up my tent in the wee hours of the evening. San Angelo seems to be a pretty quiet town, as I noticed as I'm pulling in here. The state park is located over here on the left side of the road. It is locked by a gate, but they give you a code if you show up after dark. Just gotta remember to shut the gate back and lock the gate. I paid and made my reservation online, and yeah, so I'm about to arrive at my tent parking or my campus site where me and a group of 2 other guys are going to be showing up and going to enjoy this weekend out here camping. Hey folks, today is day number 1. I am out in San Angelo State Park. I am located in the Bald Eagle Loop, site number 19. This site here is a tent dispersed camping primitive site. There's no electric, no water. They do have a picnic bench or a picnic table and a fire pit is what I'm looking at here, and there's even a little mini grill. So it's, you're definitely not boondocking. I mean, you're sort of boondocking, but you're just not out in the wild overlanding where there's no one out here. A few of my friends have asked if I wanted to join them on a camping trip, and I was happy to oblige, and I love just getting out camping. Me personally, I would love to be right now out in the middle of the Bureau of Land Management land or National Forest land where there's just no one around, just me and my setup and maybe the dog or whatever. So, but for right now, it's just me out here today. I've got a few guys that are going to come join me today out here camping. And then I got another guy coming tomorrow. This is a 3-day trip, and actually this is a 4-day trip, 3 nights, and it should be fun. I'm really excited to have you along. We'll take a look at the lake that this state park butts up against, and maybe take a look at the river. There's a dinosaur fossil trail that I'd love to explore and check out as well. So we'll just see what this park has to offer, and I'm happy to share it with you. I'm happy that you decided to join with me, and stay tuned for the adventure today. Something interesting about the terrain in San Angelo, Texas, is you can see these buttes that are off in the distance. Butte is basically a small mountain that's kind of capped off at the top like a flat, another word people call it is mesa. So you've got the mesas behind here. You can definitely tell you're entering in West Texas when you start seeing mesas and buttes entering into the horizon on the landscape. Me, I fall in love with all the mesas and buttes. There's just something that's really majestic and beautiful about them. These ones in particular are rather short compared to those if you've ever been to Arizona, New Mexico. These are just little stubby ones, but for here in Texas, it's definitely something that's pleasant to see on the eye, and it makes for a really great backdrop and background. So I'd like to thank you for joining us this evening out in, where are we at, guys?
San Angelo State Park.
San Angelo State Park, you heard it. It's a beautiful day for, there's no sun, right? So it's a nice and overcast, cloudy day. Probably about 60, 62 degrees. We got about 10 to 15 mile an hour wind coming straight from the west. But yeah, these are just some friends of mine. We're out here camping. We're boondocking out here in the wilderness. Of course, I've got the tech tent. And then we've got Dan here in his tent. Say hello, Dan. Hello. And you've got Jason over here off to my right. He's the one with the charcoal grill, getting ready to cook something delicious up. And we'll just see how things turn out from here. We may do some fishing, we may do some exploring, and also some fishing here in the creek. There is also a reservoir and a dam on the other side of the park. We're on the north side. This is called the Bald Eagle Loop. Interesting thing about the north side and the south side, there's no real interconnecting way to get there. You have to drive about 30 miles out of the way. So if you want to be next to the lake, don't park on the north side. Just a pro tip there. So we spent the next 30 minutes or so catching up with each other, talking about the drive in and the weather, and just talking about sort of our plans for the evening and the next day and what our goals were for being out here at the lake. And we ended up getting ready to start a campfire. Jason had some sausages on the grill, and it was really very pleasant. It was an enjoyable time, and I enjoyed catching up with the guys. Very pleasant experience. So thank you guys for spending the weekend with me. So I'm joining the guys as they're heading down to the lakeside, and they are going to go fishing. So I don't have a pole or anything like that, but I'm at least going to join them and enjoy the fishing, and we're going to encourage them and wish them well and try not to get poked by cactus as I'm walking down here.
What's that?
Find your worm?
Hopefully it's winter. It's a case of not exactly if we can get to the water, it's if we can get back from the water.
Yeah. We got Dan and there's Jason right there fishing. Who's likely to pull in the first one?
Well, Dan, he does really good with worms.
Dan does good with the worm?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good cast.
Damn, Joe.
What was it?
That big old hit.
Really?
Yeah.
Look at that. Uh-oh. 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 Playing with it.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Fish on.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's a big one. Well, maybe. Look,
Yeah.
look at that.
Holy cow.
It's a bass.
A white bass. How about that?
Little white bass. Look at that.
Just got him.
Show us here.
That's what they call a,
Show your fans. What we got there?
that's a little drum.
Is that a drum?
Yeah. What they call a gaspagoo.
Well, call it what you want. I call it a fish.
Yeah, it's a fish.
Well, actually, I call it 1-0.
You got it.
There we go.
Look at that little guy.
Listen to it.
That's good.
It's kind of buzzing, like growling.
Got it. Let's see it. Woo, it's a big one. Yeah. That's a stickfish. Nice. All right, so I just made it back here to the tent. I'm just got back out from fishing with the guys and need to take off my boots to get my comfortable tent shoes on. I don't like to wear boots in here just because I want to keep the carpet clean. I have a kind of like a mat down, and here in the tent I like to wear sort of like my inside shoes. These are the shoes I like to wear here inside the tent. And yeah, so overall the tent, the way I have it set up is I have a portable, a luggable loo, which is like a little bucket that has a trash lid on it with a trash can, and I use kitty litter if I have to use the restroom or whatever in the middle of the night, and then throw the bag away the next day. Got a table with a microwave. Yes, I am glamping. This is my method of camping, but for me it's a way that I can stay on my diet and follow the calories that I'm used to eating at home. So I bring my Powerstation, I bring my portable refrigerator, I bring my microwave, and I bring all the foods that I normally eat at home out here on the go. So all my gear is here. I have some totes here with some of the camping equipment. I have some fans that are set up here, some lights that are spread out, and yeah, and then my cot obviously with a pad, some pillows. I have a wedge pillow and then a pillow on top of that because I'd like to double up, and yeah, a little trash bag here. But yeah, for the most part, this is my setup here in the tent. Yes, it is a little, you know, it's cozy, as one would say. It's definitely not roughing it. This is not something you'd put in your backpack and go wandering off on a trail. I kind of bring the comforts of home, and I get to enjoy a little bit of home while I'm away from the home. I do enjoy being out in nature and out in the wild, but all in all, in the same time, there are some things that I kind of like to bring around with me just for comfort, and I don't think I'm the only one that's that way. But having said all that, this is the tent and kind of how I have things set up. I've got some pants drying that got humid because of the moisture in the air today. But yeah, so I hope you enjoy the tent tour. All right, so day one is just now wrapping up. I've made it inside the tent. I've got the heater going, and it's really chilly outside, but in here it's actually borderline balmy and hot. So it's great to have a nice, good close to the day here out in San Angelo State Park. I appreciate you joining me in on day one. We ended up going down to the creek, and Dan caught upwards of 6 fish and Jason caught 1. I'll throw a picture of that up on the video here. But having said all that, I appreciate you for tuning in to this first full day out here in San Angelo State Park, and we will see what adventures await in store for day number 2. But I'd be curious to know how often do you go fishing? Do you like going camping? Do you take a lot of gear or a little bit of gear? So I'd love to hear down in the conversation below what does your camping / outdoor living look like for you? So I'd love to hear from you, but also just don't forget to make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I thank you for tuning in for this adventure, and we will see you tomorrow or on the next adventure. Later, folks. All right, so I figured I'll go ahead and close out the video officially while this campfire is crackling in the background here. I ended up injuring my back on day number 2, which really kind of put me out of commission. I wasn't even able to carry my tripod or camera gear or anything like that. I did take a picture of the guys. They came and hung out with me in the tent. It was actually raining. It rained every single day on this trip, and it rained all day most every day, except for like when we were packing up. That's my clock telling me it's time for bed. But yeah, so I just want to let you know that I appreciate you tuning in. I do thank you for checking out the video. I hope you really liked it. I really enjoyed making the parts that I did. I was going to make actually 3 or 4 videos. That was my plan. But I ended up just combining it into one big one. So again, I appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, or leave a comment below. I'm really curious, like, what's your camping setup look like at home or when you go camping? Am I the only one that brings the tech tent, or is there anyone else out there that does something fun and creative like I do? Or even if you're just a simple minimalist, if you just bring a pillow, and a blanket. You know, I'm curious about what your setup looks like. But yes, again, please subscribe to the channel. That's what really counts. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so now. That would really mean a ton to me. And thanks for tuning into today's video. I do appreciate it, and we will see you guys on the next adventure. Later, folks.